The assembly of trench boxes can be done in our yard before delivery. This is done when a trench box has struts up to 2 metres, so it can be transported to site and unloaded without having to be assembled on site. The maximum transport height is 4.3 metres, so any assembled trench box cannot exceed this overall height. Wider trench boxes can be built and transported. However, a low-loader truck may be required. Wider trench boxes can also be delivered flat-packed and assembled by one of our crane trucks on site. This short instructional video shows the correct way to assemble our trench boxes in our yard. There is a separate video that shows assembly on site. There are 3 important reasons for assembling our trench boxes in the yard prior to delivery. Firstly, it is much easier, quicker and safer to assemble trench boxes in the yard. Secondly, it is much easier for the driver to unload an assembled trench box on site than have to assemble it himself. And thirdly, the trench box is left as job ready for the customer to use before they are lifted into position. This is excellent customer service and saves the customer time, money and reduces risk. Here in our yard, we have a controlled environment, including flat, stable ground. We have the machinery on hand that is designed and built for specialist operations, and we have trained staff here to assist the forklift operator. It is safer, easier, and quicker to build them here in the yard. There are standard operating procedures or SOP sheets available on SurePoint for each of these operations, so you can read the SOP at any time to reinforce the information that is contained in this video. Like all good projects, good planning leads to a good outcome, and safety for everyone involved is the most important factor of all. The SOP has a detailed risk assessment and must be carried out before commencement. Make sure that each item on the checklist is readily available and each part of the procedure is clear and understood by all personnel. Let's start with the equipment that will be needed. Make sure that you have a suitable forklift to manage the weight of the box and that the tines are minimum 1800 millimeters long. Ensure the forklift operator is qualified and experienced in all aspects of the operation. You will also require a forklift jib, forklift strut carrier, a synthetic round lifting sling or round lifting sling, certified 4-legged lifting chains, as well as a lump hammer and a podgy bar for attaching the struts. It is also recommended that you have a small set of steps ready to avoid overreaching to the top or high strut fittings. Building the trench boxes in the yard is definitely safer than doing it on site, but that does not mean there are not any hazards. Machinery moves around our yards, people are moving around the yard, and the trench box components are heavy. So crushing injuries could be catastrophic if safe operating procedures are not followed. When building trench boxes in our yard, the safety of everyone involved is held as the highest priority. So let's take some time now to go over the safety notes from our checklist. 1. Make sure that you choose a clear level area of hard stand, away from yard traffic and personnel to build the trench box. 2. Check that the forklift 1800mm tines are spread to their widest distance apart. 3. If using off-siders to assist with the building of the trench boxes, then clear communication is essential, because it is likely that the forklift operator can only see one off-sider at a time. 4. When fitting the spigot and strut ends, keep hands clear of moving struts and panels. 5. Do not overreach when using podgy bars or fitting top pins. Use a small stepladder so that you can safely reach top fittings. 6. Keep clear of the forklift at all times and never stand under the load. Always stay to the side of the panels. 7. It is important and worth saying again, the maximum length of struts for yard-built trench boxes will generally be 2 metres. Any longer, and the height limits may be exceeded when the truck is loaded with the assembled trench box. The final thing on your checklist to be considered before you start assembling the trench box should be, do you have all the required pins, clips and tools handy? It is good practice to separate the pins and clips and place pin sets on either side of the panel where the trench box will stand. This keeps your essential items handy and easy to find when you need them. Now we will move into the operation phase of building the trench box. The following sequence will show how. The forklift is used to select the two panels for the box to be built. The two panels are separated with panel 1 on the ground with the spigots facing upwards. Panel 2 will need to be turned around due to the way that the panels were stacked and placed close by on the ground with the spigots facing downwards. The forklift must always position the panels with the top edge of the panel and the spigots closest to the forklift at all times. Using the 4-pronged strut carrier, the struts are removed from the strut rack and relocated close to the assembly area. Attention should be given to chock the struts when they are placed in the assembly area. Otherwise, the tubular struts may roll away. The strut is lifted individually into the vertical position using the forklift and jib attachment and the synthetic round lifting sling with a choker hitch. The sling should be positioned within the top half of the strut, so that when lifted, the strut will hang vertically. The first strut is lifted into position over the spigot of panel 1, and struts are secured with pins and clips. Make sure to insert the pin from the outside. Some manual alignment of the holes may be required at this point, but remember to keep your hands and fingers clear of the pinholes. Use the podgy bar and hammer if necessary. Repeat for the other 3 struts. Once complete, remove the synthetic sling and also remove the forklift jib in a safe area away from the panels. Now it is time to place panel 2 into position and complete the trench box build. The forklift, with tines spread to their maximum, should pick up panel 2 with the spigots facing downwards towards the ground. The forklift should pick up from the top side or spigot side of the panel. Panel 2 is raised into position directly above the struts on panel 1. Then lowered into position so that the 4 spigots engage with the 4 struts that are already secured into panel 1. Strong and clear communication is required here between forklift operator and assemblers. It helps to tilt panel 2 back slightly with the forklift, so when it is lowered, the top 2 spigots, or spigots closest to the forklift, engage first. Keep hands and fingers away from the top of the strut and spigot. Once the top spigots are engaged, then lower the panel slowly and engage the 2 bottom spigots. Some manual positioning of each strut may be required at this point, so be extremely careful to keep fingers clear of spigots and hold the strut by the body, not the end. With the forklift still in position and the tine supporting panel 2, line up the holes in the struts and spigots at the top of the panel or closest to the forklift first. This is why it is important to tilt the panel backwards slightly. It is best practice to focus on one strut and spigot connection at a time. Push the pin through from the outside. Once the pin is right through, then secure the clip. Repeat for each of the 4 spigots and struts. The trench box is now ready to be stored in the delivery area, ready for loading onto the truck. This is the end of this instructional video. If asked, please respond to a brief assessment on your knowledge of building trench boxes in the yard. Remember that SurePoint offers quick and effective access to all relevant technical information. If you don't have access to SurePoint, then ask your supervisor to get the information for you.